So, welcome to the School of Consciousness. Today, what we're going to be talking about is anxiety to alignment. So, this is something that's very dear to my heart. And what I've learned through coaching hundreds of people over the last 5 years is that what most people are really seeking is a state of mind, body, and spirit alignment. And for me personally, in my own journey of overcoming anxiety, that's what in hindsight I can look back on and go, that's always what I was searching for. And that's always what I felt I was missing. I was missing a sense of alignment. And what that essentially means for me is it's like a feeling of being connected to myself, a feeling of being connected to some kind of a purpose in life, being clear in the head, being clear in the heart. So being clear with my thoughts and being clear with how I was feeling about things, but also just being clear with the direction that my life was going and having some kind of structure around what I wanted to do with my life. Now, when I wasn't in alignment, what that usually meant was that I was hanging out with the wrong people, or I was doing, behaviors and habits that weren't really serving me. And that always left me feeling, you know, suboptimal. So I remember very clearly one time I came home from a music festival with some friends, and I left that music festival, after having a big weekend drinking and that kind of stuff, and just feeling really, really, really anxious, like I couldn't breathe. Um, and so we were driving out of the festival, and I was literally just sitting there in the passenger seat and just having this like experience where it was like I couldn't breathe. Like I felt like it almost felt like I was going to die. Like I was everything was really like closed in on me, and I'm like, can I breathe? Like, am I going to be able to take the next breath in? Just really, really, really anxious. And that was one experience that I can look back on in hindsight and go, that was trying to tell me that I wasn't living in alignment with myself. Going to these festivals and drinking and all that kind of stuff. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't really what my heart and my soul wanted for my life. And at the time, I didn't really have that awareness. At the time, I didn't really realize that that's what was going on. It's only in hindsight that I can look back and go, that anxiety that I experienced in that moment was a clear sign and a clear indicator that I'm not on the right path. And that's something that I want to share with you guys. I wanted to share that little story as we start today, because if you're experiencing anxiety and you get that like tightness around your chest and maybe that struggling to breathe sometimes, you get really stuck in it, it's usually an indicator that something needs to change and something is not in alignment. And you might be doing things or going places or talking with people, and it just isn't the path for you. So I like to think about anxiety as like a very natural response that we have in our body to being out of alignment with ourself and our true path, or our true self, as people might call it, right? If you are in alignment with your true self, or your path, then you won't be feeling that anxiety. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how do we actually go from like figuring out, um, you know, if we are out of alignment, and then figuring out what we actually need to do to get into alignment. Because, like I said, I only realized in hindsight that I needed to change things. So for you, if you're experiencing it right now, you might also feel a little bit unclear. Right? It's very common if you have anxiety to feel like unclear or a bit foggy or a bit like I'm not 100% sure what needs to change. So I'm going to walk you through the process that I have kind of put together to take people from anxiety to alignment. And it's really for people who are overthinking, like just stuck in their mind, over analyzing everything, um, or stuck in like negative recurring thought patterns where it's like seems to be the same pattern of thought just replaying over and over again. Maybe you're feeling like internally and emotionally self-doubt or some worry or some concern, a little bit of frustration, maybe even some kind of desperation. It's like feeling like you need something else, and that can also lead to like disappointment for the experience that you're currently having. So if you're having, whatever you're doing in your life, maybe there's a feeling of like disappointment, or maybe it's not enough, or like it feels like it's not quite clicking where it should be clicking. Usually that's more of an emotional experience. So it's kind of like a feeling that you have. The thoughts, usually you'll be up here overthinking, negative thought patterns, everything like that is going on up here. But then if you can slow down a little bit, you might start to feel in your body, it doesn't feel right as well. Like, you're constantly on a high stress, high stress levels, high adrenaline, always feeling like you got to go, go, go. And also just kind of like you're running around like a bit of a headless chook, right? Not like doing things, but also just feeling very frantic. If that's the case, those are all clear indicators that something needs to change, right? And what you really want to do is you want to move towards a state of being where in your head you've got clarity. And that clarity is usually just it comes in the form of like stillness or silence or peace or calm, right? When you can have that peace in your mind and that calm in your mind, it allows your mind to be a bit more open, right? Open to possibilities. And if you're not feeling that, if you are feeling the overthinking, if you're having the recurring thoughts, there's too much noise happening in the mind, right? And the way that I can describe all this noise, this head noise, is like if you're driving a car and you have shit all over the windscreen and you can't see out of the windscreen. Maybe there's bugs, maybe there's dust, maybe there's just bird shit or whatever on the windscreen. So it's kind of like you can't see out of it, right? That's what head noise does. If you have too much head noise, it's like you can't see clearly. So you can still see, you can still kind of see where you're going. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of going where I need to go, but it's not really clear. That's what the head noise does. It creates like a foggy, unclear um, screen of which you are viewing your life. So you want to get control of the head noise, clean the screen up a little bit, get that clarity, and then start to shift emotionally as well out of the fearful state or the disappointed state or the sad state or the desperate state into a more calm, trusting, peaceful state of being. Now, I've been talking about this in a lot of my coaching client calls at the moment. A lot of the calls, we've been talking about how when you sit for a practice like meditation, I'm a meditation teacher. That's what that little sign is there. It says I've got my meditation diploma. So one of the biggest things I teach my coaching clients is meditation because I think it's so powerful for overcoming anxiety. And the way that it does that is because it helps you realize that you are not your thoughts. So if you have a lot of head noise, you can start to detach from it and create space. And that space is giving you a chance to become the observer of your thoughts and the witness to your thoughts, which means that you can become unattached from them. That's so important, especially if you have anxiety, because when you have anxiety, you feel like your head noise, it's like it's so pressing. It's so pressing and it's so real and it's like it's a part of you and it takes you over and you kind of get consumed by it. However, in reality, and what you learn through meditation is that you actually don't need to be attached to your thoughts at all. Like you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are experiences that you have. Like it's an experience that you have. Like, oh, that's a beautiful sunrise I saw this morning, or that was a hard run that I did. Like I'm feeling like, stressed from my run. And it's a momentary experience that you have. And it's also a passing experience that you have. It's something that you have, right? It's not the thing that you are. The thing that you are, which is what you will learn in meditation, is that you are the awareness. Like the very primary part of you, and this could be the spiritual part of you, if you wanted to call it that, is the awareness. You have awareness. You have a mind, you have a body, and you also have a spirit. And you might have heard this before, but there's a quote or like a thing that gets put around social media and stuff. It says like you are not a human having a spiritual experience, or you are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. So it says, you are not a human being having a spiritual experience, which is what most people think that they are. It's like, I'm a human being and oh, I had this spiritual experience. No, you are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. So what I'm talking about now, we're going deep, right? And I'm going to go a little bit deeper as well. Because what you need to realize is that we have to kind of define what is real, right? Because if you have anxiety, you feel like your thoughts are real, right? You feel like, oh my God, I'm thinking so much. And even the feeling, the feeling I'm having or the emotion that I'm experiencing, it's so real. It's so real that it feels like you might even die. Like I was saying in the experience that I had when I came out of that festival and I couldn't breathe. And I thought it was the most real thing ever. But really, it was just anxiety. It was just the overthinking, which led my body to be in a heightened state, which led my breath to be shortened, which led me to feel like I was going to die when I wasn't. I wasn't going to die at all. And if you've got anxiety, you might have felt that before as well. You might have had an anxiety attack where you really feel like you're going to die, but then it just goes and it just passes. So in the moment, it's real. It feels real. You're experiencing it and it feels like it's a real thing. But then it passes. And then all of a sudden it's not real anymore. Now, the definition of real, right? If the definition of real is like something that is happening, that is just like it's a real thing, it's happening. Right now, Josh is talking. That's real. All right. However, we need to go and understand and really start to connect with what is the realest thing there is. If the definition of real is something that is happening, then what is the realest thing that there could ever be? The answer to that, I believe, is awareness or consciousness. Because, like I said, thoughts change, feelings change, experiences change. Even so, your mind changes all the time. Every single day, you have like 10,000 thoughts a day. So it's constantly changing, right? So the mind is constantly changing. Even the body, right? You go through a lifetime and it changes from baby to adult, and then one day it goes away and it's not there anymore. You pass away, all gone, right? So even the body is like a temporary experience. The mind is a temporary experience. The body is a temporary experience. Now, the spirit, the awareness, that is unchanging throughout your whole life. And some people argue then it's still unchanging in the sense that there will always be awareness. The awareness is something that all humans share. And, some kind of quantum scientists and stuff like that now talk about how the trees and the plants and nature all has awareness. All living being has some kind of like sentience, some kind of awareness, some kind of consciousness, right? Even like a bird or an animal or like a tree or a flower, like it has some level of awareness. Maybe not the same level of awareness that we have. Conscious human beings have a very unique kind of awareness. However, awareness is something that is ever present. It's always there in our reality. It's always there at some level, and it doesn't really change. It's kind of just always there. So when you realize that, you realize that that's the realest thing. The awareness is the realest thing. The awareness is the unchanging part of yourself. It doesn't change. It's just I'm always aware. When I'm a kid and I'm having child experiences, I'm always there's an awareness there. I'm now a teenager. I'm having teenage experiences. There's still just that awareness. It's just there. I'm aware of everything I'm experiencing. Become an adult, start having adult experiences, and they're all changing. Lots of different thoughts, lots of different feelings, lots of different relationships, different talking, different communication. There's one thing that doesn't change is the awareness of all of that. You've always got this and it kind of sits back a little bit, right? It's kind of just behind all of the experiences that you have. And so for some people, they're not even really conscious of their own awareness. They just go about their experiences and they're really in it. and they're really like they're having the experience, right? And it is who they are, and they can't detach themselves from it, right? They're so engulfed and consumed by whatever experience they're having, which is fine. It's very normal to be like that. But what I'm suggesting is that there is a different way. You can like wake up and realize that, oh, actually, if I just slow down a second, there's always this ever-present awareness. And I can always just slow down and tap into that. And I can be aware of myself. I can be aware of my thoughts. I can be aware of my feelings. I can be aware of what I'm doing. I can be aware of who I'm talking to, right? That, I believe, is the most powerful place to be. And when you can consistently connect with your awareness, your deep awareness, that is when I believe you will start to come into mind, body, and spirit alignment. Because that's the start of spiritual alignment, is just being in connection with your own awareness of everything that is. That's the beginning of spiritual alignment, starting to get connected spiritually to that. And I'm not teaching any specific like dogmatic beliefs about how you need to be spiritual or be religious or anything like that. All I'm saying is that there is an ever-present awareness. Some people might call this God, but you can call it whatever you want. But there is an ever-present awareness that is like omnipresent and always just there. And you can actually find that and realize that that's a truth through your own direct experience. You don't even need to believe what I'm saying now. Just check for yourself. You're always aware. There is always an awareness that you have access to, like a deeper level of awareness, or you could call it a higher level of awareness if you want. It's always there. When you start to connect with that, that is when the spiritual alignment happens. And then from there, you start to bring your mind and your body into alignment as well, because you can start to think more critically or more rationally. You can actually start to ask yourself questions of like, is this way of thinking serving me the best? Or is this what I actually want to be doing? Or do I actually want to be feeling this way? Because as soon as you realize that you have this awareness, you can like step back and be a bit more observant of yourself, and you can start to realize, oh yeah, maybe I'm not doing what I should be doing. Maybe I shouldn't be going to this festival and drinking 20 30 beers over the course of a weekend, right? Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And so then you can, when you have the awareness of, oh, maybe I could change, then you start to ask yourself these different questions. Maybe you start to change your behavior. Then your body comes into alignment. You stop drinking, or you stop doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, and you start going to do things that you maybe shouldn't be doing, like go to the gym, be healthy, eat well. And then the body comes into alignment, right? And then once the body's in alignment, you go into the gym, you're healthy, maybe you're doing some meditation, you're doing some breath work, you're making it a priority to connect with a higher level of awareness that you have access to. And then the body comes into alignment, the spirit's into alignment. All of a sudden, you live in this healthy lifestyle, and your mind just starts to come into alignment as well. It starts to become clear, starts to become calm. So the first step is always just to be able to connect with your higher awareness. That's really the first basic step that I will teach everyone. It's like learn how to be tapped in to your own awareness. And then from there we can go and start to, do everything else that we need to do. But that first step is key. Awareness is key. Self-awareness is the path to self-mastery. That's a quote that I heard. I don't know who said it, but self-awareness is the path to self-mastery. I didn't come up with that, but it's true. Self-awareness is the path to self-mastery. If you want to master yourself, first you need to be aware of what needs to change, right? So self-awareness is the path to self-mastery. You can write that down if you want. Even in a lot of like recovery programs and stuff like that, they always talk about awareness first. And then they usually, in most recovery programs, they always have this like spiritual part of it as well, where it's like, connecting with God or whatever. Like I said, I'm not like biased in how you should do that. You can do it in whatever way that you want. Some people come and work with me and they end up going to like Christianity or God or whatever. Sweet. Good for them. If that works, awesome. But the main thing that I'm a big fan of is just being able to connect with a high level of awareness and just at least being open to some kind of a spiritual aspect of yourself. Because I really believe that it's not something that is up for debate. Um, it's people like, oh, I'm atheist, I don't believe in anything. I personally just don't hold that belief. Like I don't think it's something that's debatable. It's like you are a spiritual being. You have a spiritual aspect to yourself. And I really believe that one of the reasons why mental health is so high right now, like mental health issues are on the rise, anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff, it's in the rise, because in the modern society and in the Western world, we have lost our spiritual connection. All kinds of traditions and cultures over millennia have all had some kind of a spiritual connection. And now we've lost it. The cut, it's been cut, right? And I actually think that religion is one of the big reasons why we don't have a spiritual connection anymore, because most like traditional religions have like hijacked spirituality and have told us that we need to be like this way, and it's like a box, right? Which I reckon is just total bullshit. Like I'm just not a fan of that. I think it's way too limited. When the whole essence of spirituality is to be totally limitless, unlimited, right? It's like infinite possibilities and potential. That's essentially, the crux of what it is to be a spiritual being in this crazy world that we live in, right? So I don't think it's up for debate whether or not it's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. We all have a spiritual aspect to ourselves. And like I said, you can find it for yourself just by realizing that you are aware of yourself, right? Because as soon as you do that, as soon as you realize that I am aware of myself, you automatically are like split into two. There is the self that you are aware of. So there's the Josh Holiday or the whoever else you are. But then there's the awareness of that as well. So I can actually come over myself and be aware of myself. Oh, I am aware of Josh Holiday. I'm aware of the fact that I'm talking right now. I'm aware of the fact that I live in this place and I have this wife and I have a child and I do this work. So all of those things are the part of the Josh Holiday, but I can also just be aware of all of that. And when I connect with that awareness of all of that, like I said, it's like there's these two different parts. There's the awareness of the self, and then there's the self. And that in itself should like kind of blow your mind and be the start of a spiritual like awakening almost, or a spiritual experience where you're like, holy dooly, maybe it's not all like limited into my little world of everything's about me. Maybe there's a bigger kind of perspective that I could hold. That is a very powerful thing to connect with. And one of the first things that I will do with all new clients is like help them to start with some meditation or some breath work and just talk about these concepts, because it's very mind opening. It opens your mind. Or as arts call it, it launches your mind. You launch out of the mind and you start to realize that there's more going on. So that's one of the first things, self-awareness. Now I'm going to quickly just walk you through the process that I'm going to be teaching in Anxiety to Alignment, because that's essentially what I wanted to come on here and talk about. Now, I run a coaching program called Conscious Creator, and it is full right now. It's capped out, and I work with my one-on-one clients, and we go deep into this process of self-mastery, right? Self-discovery, which is essentially the self-awareness phase, and then self-healing, and then self-mastery. Now, that program's capped out, which is why I'm launching this Anxiety to Alignment program, to give you guys a simplified version of that, so that you can basically get started with this journey on your own, and to go through some, self-paced online course material that you can essentially just work with to kind of deepen your understanding of what it is that I'm talking about here, and start to get a feel for, what I'm talking about, and start to really get not just a feel for it, but like an experience of it for yourself, right? So here's the process. It's a 6-step process, right? Or a 6-week process. And the first thing that I will talk about, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you on here. So it's just nice and easy to see. The first thing that I do with everyone is get clarity, right? So week 1 is the routine, and it's about gaining clarity, right? This is the first thing. you get clarity. We talk about self-awareness, right? This is something that it's always going to be through all my programs is developing self-awareness. But then once we actually get going, the first thing we need to do is gain clarity. So you need to get clear on like, what is the problem for you, right? What are the challenges that you're experiencing? What is the problem? And get really, really clear on that, right? Once we get clear on what the problem is, we can also start to look at your goals and what you actually want to achieve. So that's the first part, just gain clarity. That needs to happen before we move into the second part, which is habits and your new daily routine. Because once you get clarity on what needs to change and what your unique problems are and what your unique challenges are, then we can move into actually creating a daily routine for you and implementing some new habits. And that's all going to happen in the first week of this program. And then week 2 is around mindset, right? So that's radical responsibility. And I'm also going to teach you about the values that I hold at Mind Launch, the company that I run, because the values that I have are trust, commitment, discipline, and responsibility. If you want to heal anxiety and move into a state of alignment, you need to trust the process. You need to trust yourself. You need to learn how to trust others. You need to learn how to trust the world around you. Trust is very important. It's a very powerful state to be in, right? And that's why it's my highest value. And then commitment and discipline. You really can't heal without commitment and discipline. I really don't believe that's possible, right? Now, traditional like doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, and stuff like that will always just talk about the problems, talk about the past, and you go in there and you pay them. And some people I talk to, they said I've been going to therapy for 20 years and it hasn't really changed anything, right? And maybe they put you on medication and they just say, oh, you're just going to have to learn to live with it. You don't have to do that. I really don't believe you have to do that. But if you are going to change, you need to be committed and disciplined. Like if you're going to heal yourself naturally, you need to be committed and you need to be disciplined because it's really about behavioral change, right? You need to change your lifestyle, change your behaviors, change your way of thinking, and really put in the work, be committed and be disciplined. And if you can do that, you can heal yourself. I really believe you can. And then finally, responsibility. So we talk about radical responsibility in my programs because it's totally up to you, right? I can teach you, I can coach you, I can guide you, I can give you education, which I do. If you watch my YouTube every week, I put out a free YouTube video with heaps and heaps of information. I'm launching this program, which is going to be a more affordable program for the wider community, which goes deeper. And then I have a coaching program. There's lots of different information, plus my Instagram videos, lots of education about what to do. But I can't do that for you. Right? I can tell you what to do, but I can't do it for you. And I'm really open and transparent about that. That's why radical responsibility is so important. You need to take this stuff and implement it into your own life. And if you don't do that, you really won't change. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you can't take responsibility and implement the things that you need to implement, it's going to be very, very hard for you to change. And I really don't think your chances are very good at changing if you can't take radical responsibility. However, you're a human. I believe in you. I think that humans are conscious beings. We have willpower. And if we want to, we can do whatever we want. So I believe in you. You just need to learn to believe in yourself and take responsibility for yourself. And then from there, we move into reprogramming your mind. So how to actually reprogram the mind and what that even means, what that even looks like, how it works, and some processes for that. And then we move into healing, right? So the first part is just around the routine and the mindset, because that's really, really important. You need to just get that clear, get that dialed in. And then week 3, we move into some deeper work around healing. So there's 2 modules here, healing awareness. So I talk about, in this, I'm going to be talking about how do we heal the nervous system and how do we also heal emotional trauma from the past, right? Because those 2 things are the main 2 things that I have seen when it comes to healing anxiety. There's the nervous system, which is essentially the body, and then there's the emotional trauma from the past, which you could call the mind. It's usually stored in the mind, in the old, they could call it the old brain, right? Or the reptilian brain, or the emotional side of the brain. It's like the amygdala and these other little bits of the brain down the back here. So emotional trauma is stored there, your memories and stuff like that. And then your nervous system is in your body, right? Your nervous system is actually comprised of your brain and your spine. So your nervous system is essentially the brain and the spine, and then there's like nerve endings that come out into the body, and that creates your nervous system. Right. So we want to work on firstly getting awareness of all of that, which we do through healing awareness. And then healing alchemy is how do we actually change it, right? So how do we start to reprogram the memories or reprocess those memories, heal the emotional trauma? This is kind of like some people call it shadow work. I don't really use that term too much, but that's essentially what it is. It's looking into your triggers, your projections, your trauma from the past, your patterns, and then changing them or alchemizing them. The word alchemy comes from like turning lead into gold. Apparently, there's these old alchemists who would turn lead or like, just nothing metal into gold. So that's the same thing. We're going to turn your struggles into your strengths. And we move into letting go, which is week 4. Letting go, your life timeline. That's essentially going to be a process that you will go through that shows you, okay, what happened in your life and what are the knots. I always talk about our life as like a rope, right? We got the present moment here, goes back to the start of our life. And if we can run our hand along it, there's going to be knots. There's going to be experiences that we had at different points in our life that create a little bit of a knot in the rope or the timeline of our life. And so what we want to learn how to do is just really smooth out that rope, like smooth out that timeline. And you should be able to get it to a point where you can run your hand along it and feel no knots and feel totally calm and at peace and okay with what's happened in your life. The way that you're going to know if you've done that successfully is if you can look back at past experiences and not feel any emotional charge around them. You come into a state of like neutrality, of like, okay, yeah, that happened and it is what it is. Right? That's where you want to get to. And then the acceptance method. So big thing that I'm huge on, self-acceptance, right? A lot of people, I was just talking to a mate this morning actually, and he's telling me that we went for a run and he goes, oh, sometimes, man, I just say things and I think I just said such a stupid thing and I always overthink it. And like, I really doubt myself and I get worried about what people think of me and stuff like that. And I said to him, like, you got to work on your self-acceptance, man, because when you're in acceptance of yourself, you can say something stupid every now and then, and it's okay. Like you just accept, okay, every now and then I might say something stupid and that's fine. Everyone does it, right? Everyone says stupid things every now and then. No one's perfect. But self-acceptance is one of the most powerful things that you can ever do in the healing journey. And so we walk through the acceptance method, some stuff around forgiveness in there as well, which is super powerful when it comes to healing. Finally, week 5, we got sustaining the change. So how do you actually sustain the change over a long period of time? And then self-mastery. So we finally get to this point of self-mastery where you feel like you've got mastery over your mind, your emotions, and your thoughts and yourself. Right. And then I got a bit of a bonus week here, week 6. One of the things that I always hear about with people that I'm coaching is that they want to improve their relationships, right? They want to be more present in their relationships and they want to have better communication in their relationships. So there's going to be a couple of modules there on open communication and present awareness because those things are super important. Now, this is going to be a 90-day program and it is going to have ongoing support if you need. So if you get through the 90 days and you want to stick on for longer, then you absolutely can. I'm just going to share my screen here and show you guys what it looks like because I've just recently put up the page, put together the page. So I run my programs on a platform called School. This is the Anxiety to Alignment program. I have another program called the Conscious Creator program as well. That's the one that I said is capped out. But this program is starting on July the 1st. Currently, I have 3 members in here. So I'm only going to be taking on 10 starting July the 1st. Just to keep a limit on it and make sure that I can provide good quality service to everyone. So there's already 3 people in here, which is cool. So there'll be 7 more spots left. And this video that I'm making right now is going to be like the kind of opening of it. So you can watch this video. If you want to join after this, I'll put the link to join right under this video. You can go to this page and you can just sign up and join. I'll just walk you through how it works though quickly first. If you've never, been in my programs or done any of my stuff, there's a community page here. So you can see I've made a post yesterday just with a bit of an introduction and some first things to do. You can watch the welcome video. And then, I shared a book that I think is really helpful. I just invited people to share books in the comments. This book is awesome. But in regards to the stuff that I was talking about at the start of this call on self-awareness, spirituality, all that kind of stuff, if you haven't read this book, The Power of Now, I would definitely recommend getting this book and reading it. I think I got this one for $1 at an op shop. You can usually find this book at an op shop. But if you wanted to just get a new copy, you can easily order it. It's a very famous book, The Power of Now. That's a good one to have. But anyway, the community page, once this community gets going, once this program gets going, we'll start to fill up with, helpful posts from people, questions, insights. I'll share different things as it goes on. And it's just like a little community of like-minded people who are on the same journey. Then there's also the classroom. So in this course, there's only going to be these 3 modules here. There's a welcome video, which I've put up. And then there's going to be the Anxiety to Alignment course, which is what I just ran you through, that 6-week course. And then any replays of coaching calls that I do will be put in here. So then there's a calendar. Now, every Tuesday, I run a live Q&A coaching call. So that is going to be the call that is accessible for this program. So you'll be able to go through the course, the 6-week course at your own pace, and you'll be able to show up to this live Q&A coaching call every Tuesday where I will be on there and I'll be available to answer any questions that you have. So that's pretty much what it is. And I just wanted to, show you guys. That's it. That's pretty much all I have to share with you today about anxiety to alignment. I talked about, self-awareness and how important that is to develop that connection to your spiritual self. And then from there, how you can move towards mind, body, and spirit alignment. Talked about how self-awareness is the path to self-mastery. I walked you through the 6-week process and I showed you what's inside the community. So that's that. Now the program is officially open. Anxiety to Alignment is officially open. I will put the link underneath this video in the description of this video, and then you can join it if you want. Up to you. I would love to see you in there. And if you're interested, jump on the link, check it out, sign up. We start July the 1st. And it's going to be, if you have been watching my YouTube videos or you have been watching my Instagram videos and you do get value out of it, but you feel like you need something more, or maybe, you're seeing a doctor, they're telling you to do certain things, or you're seeing a psychologist, maybe it's helpful, but not quite getting you there. This program is going to give you the framework, the roadmap, the blueprint to start changing your behaviors, changing your lifestyle, and coming into more mind, body, and spirit alignment. I do think it'll take about 90 days. Usually it takes about 90 days. If you're really committed and you're really disciplined and you start actioning everything, boom, 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 90 days, you're going to start seeing some big results. And then if you need more time, you can also just take more time and you can just get on that rolling membership as well. It's all explained in the link below. So jump on that. And that's it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the program.